guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it is day 5 of Graphic Novel Week. Today I'm going to be talking about The Thrilling Adventures of Lovelace and Babbage by Sydney Padua. The full synopsis for the book as well as links to it are in the info, so you can check those out there. But basically, if you're unfamiliar with this started out as a webcomic about Ada Lovelace and Charles Babbage, who are real people. If you haven't heard of them, basically Charles Babbage in the mid-Victorian times was working on something called the analytical engine that was essentially the world's first computer, 100 years before the computer as we know it was invented. And Ada Lovelace, noblewoman and Victorian lady, was a mathematical genius, essentially, and wrote the world's first computer program. So these two, Lovelace and Babbage, were basically working on a steam-powered computer decades and decades before such a thing would come to be or even really be considered possible. And it's kind of where we get the idea of steampunk. You know, if Babbage's analytical engine had been successful, that would have changed the face of the world, and we would have had far more advanced technologies at a much earlier time during the Victorian time. So they're kind of a big deal and dear to my heart because I find them both utterly fascinating, but especially Ada Lovelace. I'm going to leave a link below to a SciShow episode that's about Ada Lovelace so you can get more of a feel for who she was, but that's all you really need to know about who they were as real people. The book itself sets out to tell a little bit about their story, sort of animate who they were, but then it takes a twist into an alternate universe where they were successful and they used the analytical engine and their new computational abilities to fight crimes. And that's what the rest of the book is. So that's probably all you need to know, and I'm going to get into what I thought, which is just basically that I loved it. As I said, that's totally up my alley. That is like tailor-made for me. I was already a Lovelace and Babbage fan before even knowing that this book existed. I have been for years. So add in the fact that I like alternate realities and I like kind of exploring the what-ifs, just kind of combines to make it perfect for me. But then when you add in the fact that not only is it an alternate universe of Lovelace and Babbage, but that it's full of footnotes, and the footnotes explain more about Lovelace and Babbage and their actual true history, or more about why Sydney Padua chose to have them fight this specific crime, just makes it utterly fascinating to me. I love footnotes in general, but especially when they're used to really illuminate the text and the characters in a fascinating kind of tongue-in-cheek and playful way. It's just everything combines. All of those elements mesh into one ball of amazingness for me to make me just thoroughly thrilled with this. And that's right down to the little design details and overall feel of it. So things like the old-timey Victorian announcement poster style cover pages for each section, you know, each chapter, I guess, of their adventures. I love that. I love the stark black and whites of the art and how passionate and expressive everyone always looks. I love that at the end of each section there are copious endnotes telling you more about it, so you're kind of getting the story on two different levels. You're getting the comic and the invented story and the interpretation, but then you're also getting all of the sort of research that went into it, and you're getting who they were, and then these pocket alternate universe versions of themselves as crime fighters and mustachioed Ada Lovelace in disguise. It's just so much fun. And added to all that, there are even little silly, playful elements like this, which is a pair of two-dimensional goggles to cut out and wear that is for readers approaching the comic from universes of 3 dimensions. And it tells you how to wear them, how to work them, requires no steam power. Just, it's very fun and playful, while also doing a really good job of making you more curious about the real characters and the real stories that informed it. Even though I've always been a fan of Ada Lovelace, I've never really done any kind of extended research on her or anything, and it kind of makes you want to. It makes you want to read more about her. It makes you want to delve a little bit into their times and the radicalness of what she was doing. And it also gave me a more sympathetic view of her. Not that I ever found her unsympathetic, but I forget, even though I know this, I forget that she was Lord Byron's daughter, and that because of that, people were always watching her for signs of madness or deviancy or impropriety, and that she was really forced away from poetical leanings that she may have inherited from her father and the creativity that would come from that, and that's what she applied to her mathematics, which takes a lot of creativity and imagination, but we don't really tend to associate it with that. Padua brought that to life and kind of inspires that same fervor. And for me personally, all of that bonus material and all of that information is what helps make me love it so much. I would love the comic on its own regardless. The pocket universe Lovelace and Babbage fighting crime would totally win me over even without all of the informational bits and the passionate researchy bits thrown in. But I am a researcher in my soul. I love that stage of anything. So for me it adds a lot of enjoyment, and it goes beyond just the footnotes and the endnotes. There's also quite a wealth of information and funny cutesiness at the end with different appendix and little extra bits and all of that. So for me it adds a lot, but you do have the option to just leave those off if you want to, if they don't really work for you, and I think you would still enjoy the story and enjoy their adventures just as much. Maybe understand slightly less or understand a little bit less of the significance, but they would still be completely fun and enjoyable. And so in the end, I gotta say, if you didn't already guess, I thoroughly loved this, every aspect of it. I think it would be great for fans of Hark a Vagrant by Kate Beaton, or XKCD, or any of those webcomics that give you quirky takes on nerdier intellectual things, literary characters, or real persons and events. Those have always amused me, but I think this takes it to a whole new level, and I loved it. So that was my thoughts on the thrilling adventures of Lovelace and Babbage? Lovelace and Babbage by Sydney Padua. Obviously, I would recommend picking it up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you again tomorrow for a brand new video. Until then, thanks for watching, and happy reading!